Welcome to How We Grow, an essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz, with your host, Lynell Gordon. Welcome to How We Grow, the Vacation Rental Show. I'm really excited this morning. I want to introduce you to Rachel Alday. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yay, got it right. And tell me a little bit about your background. You've been doing it a long time. You and your husband own a property management company, so tell everybody a little bit about it.
Okay, so my husband Rob and I, we own Abode Luxury Rentals, and we've had it for about 15 years. We started in Park City, Utah.
Wow.
And
Competitive area.
Yeah, I mean at the
Very
time,
competitive.
not as competitive.
Yeah.
Now, yes. But we are at this point one of the OGs. There's some that have been around longer for sure. And Park City was a great place to start too, because there are some really great company owners in our industry in Park City that were there twice as long as us. And it was awesome to be able to watch that and learn from those people. In our market, in Park City especially, it's not like some of the other markets where the property management company owners are like kind of not collaborating. Park City was actually a place where the other company owners were really encouraging and helpful from the beginning.
That's phenomenal. That is unusual.
Right? Yeah. I mean, there's some business owners there that just were, I think, transformational for us, that we were able to ask them really serious questions and they would answer honestly.
Are they still there?
Yeah, for sure. It's awesome. There's a lodging association in Park City that most of the company owners are part of, including hotels. And it's amazing. And my husband's on the board, and I was on the board for a while. Actually, my husband's about to be the president.
For you.
Yeah, and so
That's
that group is
very
like
commendable.
Yeah, and I would say for people that are in markets where they don't have a lodging association, like make one, because that has been really, really helpful. In Jackson Hole, so we started in Jackson Hole 9 years ago. So we first were in Park City, then we also expanded to Jackson Hole. There's never been a lodging association there, and the companies traditionally were not friendly with each other. And so I've worked for probably the last 5 years to try and build a lodging association there. And so with some other companies working alongside, we work together, and there is a lodging association now.
Wow.
And it's just getting going.
Wow.
Not everyone's on board, but there's some really, really strong companies in Jackson now that they're newer, and then some older ones too. And it's been a shift to see people come together in that way. But it's sort of like the shift in our industry where people are finally embracing technology and I don't know, and sharing all their ideas and, all that kind of stuff, like on podcasts or conferences. And you're seeing that happen in Jackson more. Now we're also expanding to Sun Valley, which is like really new for us. This is just like right now.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah.
Exciting.
It's our third market, and we never were looking to grow beyond Park City. And we always have said we don't want to grow past Jackson. We're good. We're not trying to, we don't have like some expansion plan to add a bunch of markets, but Jackson Hole was an organic thing that happened and it worked out well. Sun Valley, people in that market have come to us and they've said, can you come to Sun Valley? And so just a bunch of random happenstance worked out where, okay, we're actually doing it now. Similarly, the companies aren't that collaborative there that I can tell yet. And I don't think there's a lodging association there either. So maybe we'll be able to 5 years from now work on that. We'll have to see. But
so guys, I've heard in the last 3 podcasts, you're going to hear me talk about it again. Here it is. We're asking for advice from the best of the best, people that have grown their business from nothing. And look at what they've just said. They've started this lodging association. You heard it from Scott Leggett on these shows. You've heard it from, I can't remember. Just like 3 other people have talked about it in the last couple of days. So if you don't have a lodging association, create it yourself. If you want to know how to do it, Rachel, would you be willing to talk to them?
Yeah.
And you know that Scott Leggett said he was willing to help too, but it's a really important part of strategy for growth because of the legislation that can come, and these lodging associations give you the power to fight it. Okay, so don't forget that.
That's how the Jackson Hole one actually took off.
Wow.
Because we started to try and build that before COVID. And then when COVID hit, it slowed down the process of doing that association because we were just trying to get through everything else. And then after COVID, there was such an influx of tourism in Jackson that the community is putting extreme pressure on vacation rentals and implementing, which they actually just pushed through, some serious legislation and some rules, at least in the city initially, not into the county yet, but that's restricting the vacation rentals. And so that is what incentivized these other companies to finally get together, because people were not so likely to come together as company owners that were competitive.
Right.
And then in this climate where all of a sudden there was, potential restrictions that could hurt the businesses.
Right. Yes.
And they're making legislation, and they don't have the lodging people at the table.
No, you're not at the table. If you're not at the table, you're on the table.
Because all they can do is go to individual companies unless you have an organization, which in Park City is what we've seen when there's things that are going to impact the vacation rental and the lodging industries in Park City, because there's this strong organization that's been around for 30 years. It's easy to bring them to the table and talk about it. And so when there's regulations, they can make regulations that would be more impactful and actually be able to be, they're like enforceable.
Right.
And then in Jackson, what you see is there wasn't an organization when they first started these restrictions, because that's what instigated everyone to finally get on board. And so without the organization, there was no one from the lodging community at the table when they're coming up with their restrictions. And so their restrictions end up being not helpful, very restrictive, but also not enforceable. So they do all this work, and it creates all this drama in town. And then they're really not enforceable. And the lodging community knows that. And we're sort of trying to raise our hand and be like, these are not even going to be enforceable. But they don't want to hear what you have to say because it feels more adversarial. Of course. And then but as a group, if there had been a stronger lodging association in Jackson earlier, which now there is, so going forward we'll have this, but then we could have really even helped the people that are, in city council or county council or planning commission or whatever. We could have helped them to come up with some restrictions that would be reasonable,
that would be good for the guest, good for the community, and good for the property managers.
And if the goal is increased employee housing or whatever it is, let's work together so that can actually happen. Otherwise, what we're seeing happen is that they create all these restrictions. They don't have the experts at the table. No. So now they're not enforceable. They're not actually solving the initial problem. They're just trying to be punitive, and it's not really solving anything. And in the end,
trying to do something, anything.
Yeah, they call it low-hanging fruit.
Right.
But in the end, it's just going to be a whole bunch of work for not much output, not much to show for it. And they'll probably have to start over eventually on the next cycle, because now things are slowing a bit, so they'll probably all calm down. And then on the next round,
So take advice from Rachel, guys. This is really good advice. She's saying she's not even, she's expanding, she's growing. And as she gets into Sun River, she's like, the first thing we're thinking about here is creating this lodging association. So please take that advice, and if you don't have one, reach out, and Rachel will give her information at the end of this. And you also have Scott Leggett at Inhabit, who has offered to do that, and other people. If you listen to the podcast, there are lots of people who have offered to help with this particular issue, because it's a big one, guys, for growth. And we're talking about how you grow. So what's your best piece of advice that you'd like to give property managers out there who are looking to grow? They may have been doing, maybe they've been in the business for 10 years, but they're looking for strategies for growth. What would you suggest to people, whether they're new or old?
Well, I feel like this is a little bit obvious, especially talking to you.
No,
but I do think one of the most important things is to learn from your mistakes.
True.
Rob and I always say that, our business has grown very organically, slowly. We don't have any investors. We never had. We don't want any. It's, we didn't have a trust fund that we started this from. It was just very mom and pop shop from nothing, and letting it just grow slowly over time so that we have authentic, genuine relationships with the homeowners, that we have a reputation in the towns that we work in that is real, and we have a sense of community there. And I think that authentic growth does really come from just allowing yourself to make mistakes, and then not hating yourself over it, but learning from it.
Right.
And just, I think when we look back at where we started, which we never thought we were going to hire one person.
Right.
And now we have 50 people working for us, and we never, we never thought, we didn't have a strategic plan, to be honest, but we just were taking it day by day, and we were really in the trenches with it and just trying to learn and pay attention to what was working and what wasn't.
Built by property managers for property managers, Streamline is a powerful software that gives managers enterprise-level capabilities to drive more revenue and improve operational efficiency. Migrating to Streamline allows property managers to gain functionality while reducing the need for multiple vendors, improving flow by logging into a single system, and reducing redundant technology costs. With Streamline, property managers achieve revenue lifts by leveraging our fully fledged communication center, reservations quoting system, revenue management tools, homeowner acquisition CRM, and powerful direct OTA connections. Streamline also has industry-leading trust accounting and report capabilities to give you clarity in an overall company performance. Learn more about Streamline Vacation Rental Software at streamlinevrs.com.
And I think that that's really the biggest part of how we got to where we are. And I think everyone says, like, you know, mistakes are a big part of success. But it's so true.
It is totally true.
Yeah, you cannot get the same understanding of your business without making mistakes. If you're running a business and you look back and you're like, this is amazing, we haven't made any mistakes, and like, this is so easy and great, well, then I think you're not, like, that's a dangerous place to be. You should be worried, because I think the safest place to be is to be the person that did it, tried all the things,
got back up,
threw all the spaghetti at the wall, see what stuck, learn from all the things that didn't work, keep getting back up, resilience, and then that's when you can sort of feel comfortable when you get to the good place, because you're like, wow, we made so many mistakes, but we're finally here. And I guess making mistakes is never really over. I'm not trying to say that we're done making mistakes.
No, well,
we're not. But I think that is a huge, huge part of it.
Okay, the first thing you said, well, number one, don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think we all make mistakes, and we know that. The other thing that I don't even know if you said, she talked about genuine relationships with her homeowners. And that's a common theme we see for successful property managers who grow. They have these authentic relationships, and they talk about them that way. Tell me what that means to you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I have like a strategic play on that, but for us, what it means is that every time we talk to a new homeowner, it's me and or Rob, my husband. And so as business owners, still, we're the only ones that engage initially with a new potential homeowner. And then my sister works with us. So our team we have a lot of people that are either part of our family or family with each other.
Yeah,
which small town teams, that's not so hard. But so my sister, who's worked for us for 8 or 9 years, she's another person that talks to homeowners, and then a guy on our team named Miles, who's awesome. So it's just the 4 of us really that deal with homeowners. And we had a hard time even letting my sister and Miles start dealing with homeowners.
Of course.
But we do.
Understand that.
We had to add that in. And we're super careful, just making sure that our homeowner communication is like really consistent with a group of people that are always going to be the same, so that the homeowners can have like actual friendly relationships with us and with our couple team members who deal with homeowners, so that we have these friendly relationships, so that the homeowners are like, my sister had a baby and she gets so many baby gifts from the homeowners because she's really close to them. Yeah. And we, try to make sure that we reach out to the homeowners before every stay, before they're coming, and to be like, is it you that are coming? Is which part of your family or friends, or is it your cousin or whatever? And are people coming because of an anniversary, or so that we can do what we would do for the guests?
Of course,
which
that's
is
great.
Take care of them in that way and get to know them. And I think, the other part of that relationship is just being honest with people. Like, we've learned through mistakes that when something goes wrong, we don't hide from it. We got to call the homeowner like you would call your friend and be like, listen, I messed up. Something happened. Like, here's what it is. Here's how I'm going to try and fix it. Here's how it's going to impact you or your house. And just, get out ahead of things. Be honest with people. And it's amazing that, the kind of relationships that we build through that kind of behavior, which is like basically what you would learn in like therapy, how to deal with your own family. And so then we just try to apply that with our, there's some differences because it is a business, not family, but we feel really strongly about treating our team and our homeowners like family in all the ways that we possibly can.
The other thing that Rachel is an expert at, and she's actually speaking on a panel this week, is building teams. So if you have questions about building teams, she's a good one to talk to about it. What I'd love you to tell me your favorite homeowner story or guest story.
Oh my gosh. We were preparing for this yesterday with the team, and I was trying to remember now. God, there are so many good ones. Okay, I'm just going to pick one. Let's see. So a homeowner story would be, we had this house that we really wanted to sign in Park City. This is more like years ago when it was like everything was on the line with every house. Like, I remember Rob and I always talk about how we used to go out to dinner and celebrate every time we signed a house.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
Because it was just such a big deal. And then a house like this one is like, it's called Twilight Moon Ranch. I think it has like 8 bedrooms. It's a big ranch compound. Now they have multiple properties on there. It's an amazing, gorgeous, like just insane property that could host a retreat or a huge family.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's really special. Anyway, it was really important property for us. You know, definitely one of our strongest for a long time. It still is. And so we were so proud to have it in the portfolio. And then at one point, another company had approached them, and this was a company that actually now has gone bankrupt, sadly.
Oh.
But at the time, they were making us nervous with how they were running their business.
Sure.
And so we were seeing things happening with them. And they went and tried to talk to this homeowner, and they told him, like, we're going to go through your garbage, and we're going to find what newspaper you read, and we're going to find what kind of wine is your favorite, and we're going to have that for you at the house.
That's kind of stalking.
Yeah, it was just weird. And anyway, and the homeowner, and that we're going to get, you know, this much per night all year long, and just really like silly, irrational, not true stuff.
No.
And weird. Anyway, the homeowner at that moment must have needed something like that, you know, maybe for their ego or whatever, or for whatever reason. And they went with it.
Oh,
you
they
know?
did.
And they said, we're going to go with this other company. And we
Okay.
were crushed because we were like, this is a really important house for us. And we had a good relationship with the homeowner. And it was just like, oh man, like
Yeah,
it felt
sucks.
like such a loss. And anyway, they were with that other company for, I think, a little less than a year. And all that stuff that seemed so silly, because at the time in our business, we knew, like, this is not real. What
It's
they're
not
talking about.
realistic, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It didn't work, right? And so then they came back, and they were like, can we work with you again? You know, and that was like, for us, it's really like a mistake. Again, it's like where I'm sure there was some stuff we didn't do right, because there had to be a reason why they bought that story from this other company.
That happens. Though.
Right. But I mean, I would
Yeah.
never say it's not through any fault of our own. I'm sure we did something, right? And so it's like, then that was a chance for us to look back and be like, why weren't they happy? Why were they looking elsewhere? And then what are the things that we really are doing right that they came back for? And now they're still with us, and they're one of our favorites, and they do really well. And you know, like, it's just kind of crazy how I think when you're building and you have those peaks and valleys where you like, oh, we got this amazing house, and then all of a sudden they go with someone else, and you feel like, oh, we messed up. And then, oh, it's back again. And I think that's kind of like representative of our entire experience in this business is like nonstop, you know, every time something goes really well, we have to kind of like hold on and be like, okay, this is the yin and the yang. So when things go great, like, let's hold on for whatever the next thing is, because maybe it won't be so awesome, but maybe it'll at least be a chance to learn something.
And that's a lesson in perseverance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is definitely a lesson in perseverance. Look, this business is not for the faint of heart.
No.
And it's not for people who don't like to work hard.
It's true.
Because it's not an 8-hour job.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to be doing it authentically, then, I mean, Rob and I still get calls
Yeah.
in the middle of the night.
Of
And
course.
we have a huge team, and we have all sorts of like overnight people that take care of the phones and everything, but still it happens, you know? So
Yeah.
I kind of hate it in the moment, but I also kind of love it too. Because it's like, you know, you got to love being so close to what you're doing.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You do. You have to love this business to be in it. If people want to reach out, if they have questions about creating the groups in their area for their, you know, like the
Lodging
tourism
association.
associations, yeah. If they have questions about that, or if they have questions, do you mind if they reach out to you?
Not at all.
How would they find you?
So my email is Rachel, RACHEL, at Abode Luxury Rentals, which is a mouthful. So A, B like boy, O, D like dog, E, Abode, not Adobe. Abode Luxury, LUXURY, rentals with an S.com. So Rachel at AbodeLuxuryRentals.com. Is that like how most people
Yeah,
do
most people do,
contact? Okay.
or LinkedIn.
And I'm not really big. I think I might have found you on LinkedIn, but I rarely go on there unless like I get some notification that looks interesting. But
So send her an email, guys.
yeah, email.
And if you can't find her, email me, text me, LinkedIn, whatever, and I will help you find her.
I mean, I would legit like hand out my cell phone number. So yeah, if anyone,
No.
I'm around.
If she's in real estate sales, you can find her telephone number. That's all
I'm not.
saying. Thank you again, Rachel, for
Yeah.
coming. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no,
Thank
so
you.
great.
This episode of How We Grow is brought to you by Streamline. To find out more about how Streamline can help grow your vacation rental business, visit streamlinevrs.com. Make sure to search for How We Grow in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.